Where's my...
I don't know.
My rigged thing that I had. Where'd it go?
What thing?
My make-do thing for my sound.
Oh. There you go. Alright, I gotta do this real quick.
Ooh, I distracted you. I'm sorry.
Yep. What else is new?
It was my beauty.
Right. Exactly what it was.
That's what I tell myself anyway.
I feel you.
I feel you. Oh, goodness gracious. This is...
Brandon's Outdoors Adventures. How you doing, sir?
City girl. Sorry.
Dutch Off-Grid. Where you been, bro?
This is really pathetic, but it works.
Hey. It's all good in the hood.
It wouldn't be sustainable, self-sustainable if you couldn't come up with ways to fix things.
Okay, so can you guys hear us okay? Give us a big thumbs up. Do you see us okay? Big thumbs up. So that would be 2 thumbs up. Plus
April, so glad you're here tonight.
Plus the thumbs up that you should be giving us when you walk in the room.
Until I've been working hard today.
Hardly working.
My cheeks are all red.
That's just wind burn. Wind burn.
I'm going to tell you what. That was rough today, wasn't it?
I was in the shop most of the day after we got done milking. Chores and stuff got done.
Todd family, what's up?
J3GS Farm, hello.
Hello, hello.
Geeky Gardens, hello.
Kim
Root, hello. Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
So far.
Geeky, you said Geeky Gardens.
I said hello to Geeky Gardens.
They're in Florida.
Florida. Be a Florida mama. Remember that commercial?
No.
For the tater tots? Florida tater tots? You must have had cable growing up.
I did have cable growing up.
Spoiled rotten. So.
My dad was making 6 figures back in the 80s, so yeah. That was a pretty big deal back then, so.
Let me get this silver spoon and just lay it on the table. Mr. Windswept in the house.
What I always used to tell people is that Jason used to always pick on me and say that I had a silver spoon in my mouth, and I said when I met Jason, he ripped it out of my mouth and put it in my hand and made me work with it. That's the best way to describe it.
You are blowing out people's speakers again.
I always blow out people's speakers.
I've got stuff turned down just about as low as I can go.
Not really.
MP, hello. MP.
It's having a good evening. Hope everyone's having a good evening.
Is that military police?
I hope not.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. At least it's not the FBI.
No, they come at the end. They come at the end.
Hey,
Mama Z.
What's up? What is that little icon thing? What kind is that? I can't see it very
should
well.
be the Kodiak bear. Because she's a panda bear. No, yeah. Mama Z is a panda bear. So should be the panda that's
Buenos dias.
I think that's the logo for 2 months. Because this will be Mama Z's 2nd month as being a member of this channel, which we completely and utterly appreciate.
City girl. Antonio says your Zits and Giggles soap is good. He likes it. I was told to order more. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh, I know what I need to do.
What?
Before everybody starts.
Oh yeah, go ahead and it's not really. It's not as it was a lot louder. It felt like last week.
Well.
Look what the cat dragged in.
Look who decided to show up.
I got something cool in the mail from her today.
Yeah? Was it a pull-up bar? Because you know she's been going to the gym.
She has been going to the gym.
Yeah. She's changing her life one step at a time, just like me.
Not
Kathleen.
I like her. She said, Buenos dias.
Who said buenos dias?
Kathleen. She said California.
California.
My arm hurts, honey.
Well, stop hitting me.
I didn't hit you. That wasn't you. Heifer.
Is that where the cow kicked you?
Yes. It's nice and bruised.
She didn't kick me?
Mm-hmm. Didn't hurt then, huh? I didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes to mosey on in here.
I don't know. It didn't take too long. We got 20-something people in here, so that's good.
Yeah.
The rat person.
Here comes trouble. See?
Uh-oh.
Always know. What?
You want to see how much is in here?
From who?
That's Thelma.
All right, bring it over here.
Sorry about that.
What's you talking?
Tied him up like last night?
We didn't tie him up.
The gate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Did your sister give hay?
She's giving it right now.
Okay. And so we need more tea. Put that up. Put that up. So that way it does.
Is this the skull? Skull?
Skull?
What skull?
I don't know. What's she talking about, skull?
I don't know.
You just say skull when we say cheers.
That's skull. That's not
That's what I
skull.
said, skull. Skull.
It's not skull.
You know, I'm going to sit over here the rest of the night. I'm not going to talk because all you do is correct me anymore.
Always. I've always corrected you. Cow skull. No. Oh. She was thinking that she was bringing a cow skull for us to look at. That's not what we were looking at. You're exposed. No, it was not a cow skull. That was a bucket. Cow skull not drinking tea from skull of enemies. I wish.
It's a thing.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
He needs to bring it back.
We'll be doing it out of, what's his name's horns pretty soon.
Did you find the?
I haven't been able to find it yet. Carol's trying to refinish.
All right, hold on. You see this thing right here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, when it goes into the red,
Uh-huh.
you're too loud.
Nuh-uh. Am I too loud for you guys? Just let me know. Am I too loud? Linda Jacobs, what's up? Carol's trying to finish out Freckles' horns from last summer, and she needs food grade epoxy. See, I'm not too loud.
Okay,
So
that's okay. That's Karen and
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah,
Karen told
see?
Sam. Karen told Sam to tell you no, and then it was just Dutch.
Mm-hmm. And Terry.
You know, Terry's always on your side. You could come out and say, "We are now saying the sky is green," and Terry would be like, "Well, Robin said
April
it." So
said no.
again,
Is there
rubies.
anybody in this chat that if they said no, that you would be like,
I
okay?
could find a reason.
Anyway, so Carol's trying to
Those
find.
ducks.
That's not a
that's
dog. You're
That's not a
losing
duck.
it.
Well, that's what they normally. They even
Yes.
sound like it. They
When
sound
they-
like get the going. They sound like a jet that's coming in way too low.
I'm gonna have to post a picture on our new Instagram for people that haven't seen that before. But we have, during mating season, the male ducks will start to get, kind of riled up with each other.
It is duck kung fu fighting. She's trying to play it off.
I wasn't
No.
finished.
You got ducks wearing headbands with like the Karate Kid symbol on it,
That's their
and-
caruncle. That's not a.
and they come out and they'll par up and.
Well, they pull out their wings, and like when they do it, it really does look
It's
like
the
the
crane
crane.
technique.
Yeah, like he literally like they pull their wings out and they like spar with each other, so they'll like it's almost like as if you would imagine like their armpits, like they basically bump armpits to each other, and they just will like they'll lock up and start spinning around, and like it gets pretty violent. It's pretty crazy.
What does that?
Hey, I'm gonna give you an '80s saying, okay? Don't come in trying to drink the Kool-Aid when you don't know the flavor. Okay?
Do you know my
Mind your business.
personality? I drink anything. I don't.
Shut the door.
She doesn't care what
Shut the
flavor
door.
it is.
It's cold outside. I need to give you some kudos.
Okay.
Okay, and all joking aside, when you came out earlier, I guess it was mid-February, early March, and you said, we're not going to be planting until right about after Easter, close to the end of Easter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what crack are you smoking?
I said
What
the
crack
frost.
are you? I was
did.
saying that to myself. I'm
Yep.
like, I just kind of like,
Well, I could see it because sometimes you were like, don't we need to get our tomatoes started? Don't we need to get our tomatoes started? And I'm like, no, it's too early. And you're like, but we got it. And I'm like, no, the frost date is April 20th.
I'm like trying to get schedules in order so I know how much time I can devote to helping you get stuff in the garden. And I'm like, we need to go. And you're like, no. And I'm over here going like, but in all honesty, I was wrong. Robin was right, because it is colder than the well digger's bottom outside in the middle of January right now.
Well, like Terry said, we have a frost advisory tonight.
We've had friends in Virginia and North Carolina both talking about it's snowing.
It's snowing.
Like what? What is it doing to snowing in April?
And now here's the thing. In this area, most people will say tax day or Easter. Now this year, or Good Friday. Good Friday's the thing. Plant after Good Friday.
Even the bees didn't believe you.
This year, it's both. Because the 15th is Good Friday. And so I basically said we're going to wait till at least after Easter, preferably that following weekend, so we can at least ride out till the 20th. And I will tell you what I have noticed.
Hedgehog Homestead, how you
I've
doing?
been a little bit more observant the last few years, and I have Instagram pictures to back it up. When our daffodils bloom in January, we will have an early spring. When we have our daffodils later than that, February, March, it's a later spring. This year, our daffodils did not bloom until March.
Hey, Bruce Hard Homestead. Hey, I've been trying to get half a second here to apologize to you guys because I did not make y'all's live stream on Thursday, and I got my reminder.
Notification. We reminded ourselves.
No, I didn't get a notification from
but
YouTube.
you got your notification through
but
Alexa.
we were out, and I really need to stop doing practical jokes in places like Tractor Supply. And
That's right, because you're like, I'm blocked on their Wi-Fi. I can't get on Wi-Fi.
Can't get on. She can get on it on her work phone. I can't get on it on mine. Like we were trying, because we had to run Tractor Supply this morning. I still couldn't get on it. So I really got to stop that stuff because I think they're on to me. But I really wanted to make y'all's live stream on Thursday. But unfortunately I missed it, and so I'm gonna have to try to catch the replay. And same way with Copper Kettle last week.
Oh, Sunday was
Well, I fell asleep.
Yeah. Sunday was like the weekend was just rough.
It was
so,
a rough weekend.
Yeah.
And so we try to visit y'all's live streams as much as we can, but
we were trying to get ready for
exhausted.
everything that's going on, and it was just burning the midnight oil trying to get everything ready.
Yeah.
So Kathleen said, I have some goals that I'm focusing on and decided to just buy some starts this year, and I'm okay with it. Absolutely. Like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. As a matter of fact, to be completely honest, I didn't start any starts this year either. I'm buying mine. It just so happens I'm buying them from my daughter, but I didn't start the starts.
Cheese ball.
Well, I mean, it's technically the same concept. I did not physically do it. It's like she's saying, she's focusing on something else, so she couldn't do it. So I was the same way. I knew we had a bunch of stuff going on, and so I employed my daughter.
Is that Neil?
Niall.
Niall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's going on, devil dog?
I employed her to do our seed starts this year. And I basically, I came up with how many I needed, and she's gonna fill my order, and then she'll.
More than that. She done filled up the seed room.
The whole seed room is full, y'all. It looks like all I see is green in there. Like it's to the point where I walked in there this morning.
Is there a scratch?
Right there, it looks like it.
Yeah.
This morning I walked
back
in
to the VA. They
to
can
look.
fix that, right?
I think so. I went in there to look this morning, and I was like, baby, you gonna lose some seeds if you don't plant up today. And we've been so busy the last 3 or 4 days that like she hasn't had a chance to sit down and do it. So I told her, I said, during our live stream tonight, we went ahead and made sure we ate dinner early today so that when they sat down while we're doing the live stream, that they could work on the stuff that they needed to work on. So she's definitely working on all of those seedlings. So that's kind of cool. It's all good. It's spring. We're all busy. Waiting for the rain to stop. You know,
amen to that. We this week, this week was rough because it seemed like it would rain, stop for 15 minutes, pour, stop for 15 minutes, hammer you, stop for 5 minutes, and then rain some more. I mean, we still have standing water, and we've had good sunny days now, last 2 or 3 days, where we've been actually out to go out and do stuff. Mm-hmm. But your feet are still getting drenched, and it's getting to be a muddy mess. And
well, you know, one thing I was thinking,
I'm having a hard time cutting grass
because it's so wet.
Because we still got the goats kind of penned up because we're still clearing trees and repairing fences, and because we're going to put them in a different area.
Well, and we're kind of waiting for things to bloom. Like, we had an area where we wanted them, or to grow, because we had an area we wanted to put them, but there was just no growth because it was still cold winter.
Well, I mean, no, I've got the area where they need to go, and there's plenty of growth there. It's just, I've got to clean up that area, and I got to pull those T-posts, but I need a tractor to do them because they've been in there for so long. And my buddy, brand new tractor, 19 hours on it, busted a fuel line. Now they're talking about it's going to be weeks before he can get it back. And it was covered under warranty, so he's very upset. He has every right to be upset.
I would be too. And there's no doubt that they've pushed him to the back because it's warranty work. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a given. So we went up to... So this afternoon I was walking around filming, and I noticed that Rocky and Clubber were both hanging out in their pens, but no hens anywhere. Like, none. I went and looked inside the Eggmobile, no hens. I went and looked inside where Clubber's girls hang out, no hens. I started panicking because I'm like, they're all gone, like none of them around. So I start kind of looking in the places like over by the trash can, and I saw one buff over there. So I was like, okay, there's one. And then I turned around and looked over towards the back side of the property on that corner, and I started seeing movement. So I was like, well, maybe they're just on the other side. So as I was looking over there, I walked over there, and I saw maybe 4 or 5 of them. So I was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get some feed, shake it around, throw it inside there, maybe they'll come. In the meantime, both roosters are hollering for them to come back. Like, you can hear it in their crow that it's like, girls, you need to come back here. Like, where are you at? So those guys come, and that's all of Rocky's group. I mean, all of Clubber's group. So then I'm like, where's Rocky's group at? I start scanning, and I start seeing motion over by Mr. Brown's yard. And I'm like,
they're going over there to add some nitrogen to his garden spot.
So no, in his backyard, not the garden area.
Wow.
So I was like, perfect opportunity. Let me go see how he's doing, see if he needs any more eggs. So we walked up there and I was like, hey, just wanted to see if you needed any more eggs, because apparently the chickens think you do, because they're in your backyard about ready to do their business in your backyard. And he's like, really? And so I went back there. I was like, I just want to let you know before we shoo them back, you know, that's why we're back there. He's like, leave them be. They'll find their way back. They're fine. He's like, put that nitrogen in my backyard. That's good. So anyway, he was telling us, remember when all of those cars were back in his driveway that one day?
I think so, yeah.
His mother passed away from COVID. And he was telling us that he's working on selling his her house, which is his, and that he's going to buy a tractor with the money that he gets from the house. So as soon as he has the tractor, he would love to come down and till up because he's going to get the discs and all that. And he wants to come down and till the garden for us because we've kept him in supply of eggs. So I wanted to pass that along to you. I forgot to tell you that. So that's kind of cool.
So he's not moving now?
No. So that was one of the things I asked. That's his mother. The other one is her mother. Where we went and got the bamboo, that's her mother. That's
where he wants to move
to? Apparently. Yeah. Huh. So, anyway. At least that's the way I understood it. So, did we have Raven Cat Cecilia, you came in. Hello.
I know, I just want his property.
I
want that garage.
Yeah, it used to be a firehouse.
It's already got really water to it. It's got power to it.
Yep. Very neat.
I think it's even got a big old honking refrigerator back there or something. Or
probably. But yeah, it was really funny because I started scanning and I saw it and I was like, guys, I just want to let you know there's chickens in your backyard. And they were like, it's fine. Leave them back there. They'll find their way back home.
Did he give us our egg carton back yet?
No, because he wasn't done with them yet. He's not done with his eggs. That's why I was upset when we were at Tractor Supply. I couldn't find any more of those cartons. So I got to look and see. Because they had the regular ones.
Yeah, the cardboardy ones.
Are like 60 cents or something like that. But I really do like... have any of y'all seen... They're a plastic egg crate. Egg carton. Which is really nice because then you can disinfect them, clean them, put them back, you know. And so that's pretty neat.
So yeah, I want to kind of turn that little building into my butcher meat shop.
Oh yeah, no, it's exactly the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a handful of oregano and eggs can do.
It really goes back to thinking. If you try to alienate yourself from people, whether it's through, you know, you don't like them or you don't get along, versus trying to mend the fence and make it to where everything is good, you'd rather have an asset than a liability. You know, like that's just what it really boils down to. And so that was what we were thinking is that, you know, he's right there at the road. So little simple things like when we have a package come. There have been times where they've delivered a package to him instead of to us.
Oh, it's never gone to him.
I thought it did.
Nope, it always goes.
Oh, to that one over there?
Especially with Brown.
Speaking of which...
Oh, yeah. Don't ever send anything through UPS because their drivers don't know how to do GPS. Their drivers don't know how to read addresses. I just think that...
And there's no accountability. Like, none.
It makes you wonder what is the application process for UPS. Because it's not just happening to us. We hear people all over talking about how horrible UPS and FedEx have become.
Our FedEx driver has been good. We never have problems with FedEx. But like, Amazon's going to put them out of business because Amazon finds us every time.
Every time.
Every time.
And then you got Amazon and the USPS. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's sooner or later companies are going to get tired. Like we had to buy a new KitchenAid
because of the cows.
The switch went out on the
one we had.
Yeah.
Hello.
The switch went out on the KitchenAid. And so it was time to get it replaced.
Right.
We paid for it, ordered it from KitchenAid itself because we was looking for the replacement part, and they make it to where you can't fix them anymore, which is aggravating because it's probably like a $5 switch.
We just couldn't couldn't make it happen. So instead of buying a brand new one, we went ahead and got a refurbed one through KitchenAid, and they give it a year warranty. And all the reviews I've read say that they're just as good because they go through a rigorous, thing before they send them off. So, but yeah,
So
we got
if this one goes out, I hope it's something other than the switch. Because then,
you could use the switch.
I'll pull the switch out of that one and put it in this
There
one.
you go.
Put it in the old one because I still got the old one out in my shop,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I'm honestly waiting to find somebody on Facebook Marketplace that's getting rid of one, and I'm just gonna scarf it up, and just start saving them as parts.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, so so we ended up ordering it. Well, we got the notification last Friday, not yesterday, but the week before,
But
that it had been delivered.
And she comes all beep bopping home talking about where's my KitchenAid. I'm like, I don't know. Well, it said it got delivered at 11:55, and I'm like, well, it didn't get delivered here.
And I knew they were out in the pasture, like right by the gate. So I'm like, you didn't see the UPS truck? Nope. So we went up to the normal places
Yep.
where they might be, and it was nowhere to be found. So I went to call, and they basically tell you can't file, you can't open, no, it wasn't even that. You can't open a complaint on the phone. You have to go through their website. So I went through the website, opened up a complaint, and heard nothing by Monday. So Monday turned into Tuesday. Well, Tuesday, we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, this UPS truck is backing down our driveway. So I'm like, oh, they must have found the KitchenAid. They're bringing it. Well, we go up there. Ladessa and I run up there, and the truck just sits there. And then all of a sudden, he starts taking off. And I'm like, hey, like, what are you doing? And he sees me and starts tearing up the driveway. And I'm like, what are you doing? Then he cuts to the right and, like, peels out on the asphalt. And I'm like, so I'd had enough. I came back in. We had company. I came back in. I grabbed my phone, and I was
said a few
hot.
wordy words.
So I went outside, and I called the local, I found where I was going to find the local office, which is out of, I think, Carnesville or something like that. So I called them, and I was like, what in the world is going on? Why did he pull out of my driveway like that?
Those are not the adjectives she used.
And so they were like, well, we're going to expedite this. Somebody will call you within the next hour. Okay, fine. Within about an hour, I get a phone call. And that was the other thing. The lady told me, it doesn't look like it's been delivered yet. It looks like we still have the package. And I'm like, but the thing says it's been delivered. She's like, well, I'll have somebody call you. So when they call, the lady's like, no, it looks like it's been delivered. Let me get in touch with the driver, and I'll find out. So they call the driver, and the driver's like, yeah, I was there because when we file a report, they have to come physically back to where the delivery is and verify whether or not it had been delivered there. She's like, and the driver told her, he's like, yeah, I've never been there before. So how did you deliver my package if you didn't deliver it here? So he is under the impression he delivered it at a different address, like across town somewhere else. So she says he's going to run by there tomorrow to see if he can find it.
Hey, Kim.
So it goes by the next day, and I forgot to call. So yesterday I called, he went by there and nobody was home. So then Thursday he was supposed to go by again. I was supposed to call. I forgot to call. So yesterday I called and I was like, look, I needed to touch base with y'all. What did you find out? And she was like, well, I talked to the driver. Well, actually, she put me on hold for like 10 minutes. And I ended up having to call her back because I got into a patchy area. I call her back, and I'm like, so what'd you find out? She's like, we just don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? She's like, well, he hasn't been able to find the package anywhere. He has no idea where it's at. I'm like, okay, so what's the next step? Because I need an answer today. Like, I should have had an answer on Thursday. I forgot to call. Which, they should have called me, but that's a whole nother thing. But I need an answer right now. She's like, well, what we'll do is we'll close it out to show that it wasn't delivered to your address. And we'll have to get in touch with KitchenAid to get them to send you another one. And so Jason and I were talking today, and I was like, you bet your butt, Monday morning, I'm calling KitchenAid and be like, look, I don't know what you got to do, but I really don't think it's a good idea for you to send it through UPS because that was way too much. And here we are now. We need it.
Yep. But, hey, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
No sense. We're not going to lose any sleep over it and get all any more excited than we already are. But, you know.
I told that lady, I said,
we're not going to get excited about it any more than we already are. So, what a crazy couple of days of weather. I mean, it's cold outside. It's supposed to get to what, 35 tonight?
It says 35.
So, are you going to bring in those plants?
Already done.
Okay, outstanding. I just thought about it. So, I was like,
already
maybe
done.
we need to do
Last weekend when I was...
Nana Share dipped in all quietly and said one thing and then just was like quiet.
Oh, what did she say?
I think she said that she was present and
accounted for. I saw that part.
But you were like talking in one of your talks where you don't breathe.
Oh yeah, I'm upset about it.
No.
Because I think there's no accountability.
You're getting your whole face and neck red. Just breathe. It's okay. We'll get it worked out. It's no big deal.
Kathleen, our closest UPS center is Anderson, so
that's 45 minutes.
That's a 45-minute drive. So unless I coordinate it, that I pick it up on my way home from work, that's, you know. I work for FedEx. I know her story well. And it's society in general. There's no accountability anymore. Like there was
so much for moving on.
There was just no shock. Like this lady was like, it was just crazy. So, but as far as the weather, so we picked up some plants last weekend, that were from our feed and seed that they let me just pick up and nurse them and try to put them back together because they're about to.
So, I want to paint a picture here. I love my wife, so don't get it twisted with what I'm about to say or anything, because I'm going to use as examples some things that are not very flattering. But
what? Peterson Farms of Nashville. Hello, hello.
Oh.
Choose your words carefully.
Well, it doesn't help that you start kicking me under where everybody can't see.
My foot's not even close to you.
No, okay, I'm sorry. You nudged me to let me know that your foot was there.
I really didn't. It may have been an accident,
but.
Naturally, Nancy, I just got a text from UPS about my parcel. I wonder if I'm getting your KitchenAid. Okay. It's not flattering.
When Robin goes to our feed and seed bags, I think they look at Robin as the pitiful crackhead. And
that is not.
and they just feed the habit because it's easier than trying to take her to rehab. They just kind of feed the habit a little bit here and there. So Robin walks in and she'll go over there and she'll look at a couple of plants and then we'll pick up fencing material or something that we need or just a block of that. They have the best farmhouse cheddar.
They bring it in from Wisconsin. It comes from Wisconsin.
Yeah?
Yeah, so like it's
I thought
legit.
it was made local.
No, it's legit Wisconsin cheese. Like it's in a big hoop cheese.
Yeah.
And so
oh, it's wonderful. So once a week we always get it.
It's like $5.95 a pound. So you get a pound, and then here's my thought: if I'm throwing them a little bit of money here and there, it kind of establishes that relationship for what he's getting ready to talk about.
You can't even talk because you just see what I mean, crackhead. Because now she's trying to justify what happens there. Well, I do buy some cheese.
Or like I bought.
There's more justification.
When we were talking last time about not being able to find pole beans, I went in there and I asked him if he had Kentucky Wonder. And he's like, I have last year's seed. It still should be fine, but I haven't gotten in the new seed. And it was supposed to be $5.95 a pound, but he gave it to me for $3.95 a pound because it was last year's seed. So I bought a pound of it, and then I also bought, I think I bought cheese that week too. So that was, so I'll go in there and get, like, that's funny. I was going to look and see if they had.
No, me trying to rub my shoulder.
Look at me.
No.
I was going to look and see if they had barley so that we could grow it. Barley seed. And.
Do you know how. Barley's going to be like wheat. You know how much space we would need to grow to get.
I don't know. I was thinking more of like throwing it out as a grass.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I definitely, like, I go out there and try to look and see, what they have that I can get from them. Seed potatoes, we got our seed potatoes from them. We got our garlic from them.
And the crackhead is picking up the aluminum cans because he's trying to clean up the neighborhood.
Anyway.
Look, they all the plants that are like close to dying or they have to get rid of because because they're Bonnie plants. I think they hold on to the side and they're like, oh, it's Saturday. She's going to be coming.
I think they do that, though.
And so, because if you go with Robin, and I invite everybody in this chat at some point in time to come down here during the spring and summertime on a Saturday and go with her to go get feed. Because she will stop at Begs. When she walks in the door, business stops. And everybody just starts looking at them. And so she'll walk around and she'll get a few things here and there. And then the old man will say, off to the side, over there on the side, you can take whatever you want. And Robin goes, and I think they watch and wait for her to get. No, you get. I mean, she doesn't literally go, but she giggles. She gets giggly. And pew!
Well, what was really bad about last weekend is that they had gotten in their first, like, heavy spring stuff. So, like, their tomatoes, their peppers, all that. And so they, excuse me, they were full. Like, every shelf was, like, they had just restocked kind of thing. And so I think what happened is, in order to make room for that, they moved some stuff that really wasn't horrible off to the side. And so I didn't even touch them because to me it looked like they had just extended their space with a couple of pallets so that they could still sell them. So I went back inside because I was going to get some strawberries because they have strawberries there.
They didn't have strawberries that week.
Yeah, they did. And so I was going to get
that's not why we were there.
I was going to get some strawberry plants. And you better stay away. I'll smack you around. That's my honey hole. She said she going to get a vehicle and come down. No, you won't. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so I went over there and...
Okay, you think I'm making this story up to try to be funny tonight, but did you just see that reaction when Terry was talking about, I'm gonna come. Terry was talking about coming down to go shopping with Robin. Robin was like, what? You are not coming down to my honey hole. No, you ain't doing it. I'll kick you all the way out. Kick your hand out. Plant crackhead.
So anyway, I went to go look at some strawberries, and I asked them what they were going for, and they still wanted like $4 a plant. I was like, that's just a little too much. So Chris is laughing at this story. So I went back inside to buy the plants, and then he told me how much they were going to be, and I was like, I just don't know. And so we walked back out there, and the one guy's name is Paul. He's always really nice to me. And so we were walking over there looking at him, and he's like, well, did you get you some plants? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't get any of the plants over there? And I was like, I don't think those are to get. I think those are still for sale. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure that they put them off to the side for you. And I was like, what? And so I was like, well, go ask them real quick because I don't want to touch anything unless, So we walk back inside. Paul goes over to the owner's son, whatever, basically owner capacity. And he walks over to him. He's like, hey, those plants over there on the side, are you charging, like, how much are you charging for those?
Pause. Listen to how this story goes. And then tell me I'm just making it up for laughters on a live stream.
And I hear him say, who are they for?
Finish.
And he said, the lady that comes and takes all of our plants that are dying?
Dun, dun, dun.
And he said, oh yeah, tell her she can have them. That's where I put them for her. And I was like,
Your Honor, I rest my case.
So I walked up over there, and the worst part is we had already gone to the Sunny Hill Nursery,
which I absolutely love.
And we had picked up some lettuce and a bunch of herbs. Like, I'm excited. We even got some eucalyptus.
Yes.
That we have to pot up. I'm so excited about
bring that in
those.
the house too?
Yeah, I told her to bring the whole thing in. I told her to leave the lettuce outside, but everything else could stay in. And so we got some fennel, some dill, a whole bunch of stuff.
Like, I love that nursery so much that if that's one of your dreams to be able to have to sell plants and have a little nursery, I invite you to come down, hang out with us. We'll take you there. They got
awesome.
They got it figured out. Their business plan and everything is on point.
They hire high school kids with the wand watering. Everything that they have set up. You are blessed, Robin. Great reputation to have, the plant saver.
And this is where we come in, all your enablers.
The best one's Dee, because I'll literally message her and be like, I'm only going to the feed store. I'm not going.
I'm glad you brought up Dee. You really need to stop. No, listen.
Wait. I want to address this real quick. Naked Gardener says that would be a great video of the nursery. We actually did one last year. If you look there's a thumbnail of me and Jason with a bunch of dahlias. And I think I'm like kissing him on the cheek. It's a pretty, you can see the thumbnail. We did a video on it, and it's beautiful. It's really nice. So, Jason, why are you complaining? Robin got you some free food. Let the girl keep on getting them.
Raven Cat, please email us. I will give you my address.
She's in Canada, I think.
Just come on down.
But
okay, no, stop.
Okay. Collaborate and listen.
When it comes to Dee, you don't need to fan that fire for her. We've been married 17 years, and I have never really put my foot down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to put my foot down for this.
That's cute.
No, it's not. I'm being serious.
No, it's not.
Her husband's like 3 times my size. He likes me right now. But if you turn her into Robin the second story, I don't think he's gonna like me very much.
Oh, do an interview of the store owner. I mean, we probably
They
could.
won't get on camera. Remember we asked. I would love to.
Yeah, you know, I do remember the lady that's there. She's very like kind of.
Yeah, she would like even when she saw us filming, she would.
Yeah.
Round.
Is that
about.
the same place that has traps?
No.
Oh, the Beggs is. They have the traps.
No, we're talking about the nursery up there by where you work. That had the big bear trap and stuff hanging on the wall.
Oh, yeah, that's a different. I don't really call that a nursery per se.
They're like a feed and seed.
That's a feed and seed that just has a lot of really cool plants. Jason, you're not gonna win on this. She said, "I'm in Canada, or I would be at your back door." When she got home with the plants. Team free plant here. Got my foam finger up. Whoop whoop. Jason, plants or chickens? Pick one to live with it.
If I only had to pick one?
I love Karen. Foot down equals foot in mouth.
But, and she tried to pull another fast one. Okay? I stumbled across an email that all of a sudden some chickens had been shipped.
No, they're not shipped yet.
We didn't even have a discussion.
Brenda says foot down and build more raised beds, Jason.
I'm gonna have to. But in all honesty, I do love it when Robin goes and gets them and saves those plants. Like I always tell everybody about how you saved all those squash plants.
Last summer was ridiculous with how much squash we saved.
We couldn't give squash away.
We couldn't.
People were starting to avoid us because every time they'd come up, we'd hand them squash. People stopped talking to us about midsummer.
Yeah, we ended up we had way more than we needed. And this year, we have so many options on fertilizers to be able to help bring them back. Just a real quick, because I know Jason wants to answer Clarissa's question. When we bought the lettuce and brought it home last Saturday, I had every intention of planting it. Well, we didn't, and we forgot to water it. Sunday, I went outside, and that lettuce was almost dead. It was all wilted, withered. It did not look good. Of course, I was really mad at myself, and then I got mad at my girls for not going behind me because, I'm an adult, and I need people to go behind me. But anyway, we real quick put it in a container, put water in it, and then Ladessa chopped up some banana peels and put the banana peels in the water. And the next morning, we walked out there and they were perked up. And as of yesterday, or this morning, they're loving life. I still haven't planted them. I'm going to do that tomorrow, I think. I was waiting for the cold to pass by. So, Clarissa's question. Tips on finding and buying land for homesteading.
Okay, let's unpack this. First things first. You have to ask yourself what's your end game goal. And that will help you, and the reason why I say that, because that will help you determine the amount of land that you need because there's a difference between need and want. So if your end game goal is you just want to say, you know what, I'm tired of the issues with the supply chain. I'm tired of all the high inflation. I'm tired of everything. I want to be as self-sufficient, self-reliant as I could possibly be. Mm-hmm. So then you have to you got to ask yourself, you got a bunch of questions that you have to ask yourself. Cows versus goats for your dairy. How many cows do you want? Do you want to do cows for beef? How are you going to set it all up?
If that's really truly what your goal is,
right. Right. If your goal is you just want to have a small homestead, a couple of chickens, and a small garden.
Maybe a goat or two, a couple goats.
Then obviously your land that you're going to be looking for is going to be less acreage. If you're looking to have it and turn it into a business where you're doing the Joel Salatin pasture upholstery profits, and you're making $25,000-$30,000 a year just by doing meat birds for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Those things, you got to answer all of those questions, because those questions will determine the type of land that you need.
Well, and where, are you planning on staying in the area you're in, or are you going to pick up and move wherever? Because that's another thing you got to think about.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
If you're bound and determined, like, for example, I like to listen to the podcast Prepping 2.0, because they talk about some homesteading stuff, they talk about preparedness stuff, they talk about current events kind of stuff. But they recently moved out of the state that they were in into another state, just based on politics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would never...
There's a lot of people doing that right now.
I would never suggest that, because I think that's because politics can change in a drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at, when it comes to your homestead, if you're okay with packing up and moving across the country, or moving here, there,
Mm-hmm.
then I would also look at taxes. I would look at restrictions.
Well, that's what
licensing
said.
Licensing, all those sorts of things, because that's one thing that we didn't really, to be 100% honest, we never thought about looking at land taxes, homestead exemptions, different licenses or certificates that you would need to be able to sell stuff like that. We wanted to be reliant, self-sufficient, and that was the one thing that's driving us down the road. 15 years later, now I look at it and go, we kind of got lucky about the taxes, but some of our laws are stupid. It's just ridiculous for the licenses and stuff that you have to buy. So I want you to do all of that. My number one suggestion, my number one point is, no matter if you're going to do, you're going to be self-sufficient, doesn't matter if you're going to run cows, doesn't matter if you're just going to do goats, horses, whatever, water on it. A pond, a creek, having your own water source other than a well is top of the line, crazy over the top beneficial to you. Now, you may end up paying more per acre for that land, but in the long run, it's going to be well worth it. Like with us, we got lucky. We got a spring-fed pond and a creek on it. So we have pretty much 2 water sources on it that at any given point in time, my well goes down or whatever, I'm still going to be able to, one, have water for us, but water for the animals. Then the second thing would be, depending upon the size of it, would be to make sure it's not all pasture. Have some natural area. Woods with it. That will help out if you're going to, really doesn't matter what animal that you're going to run. At some point in time, you're going to need shade or a windbreak. So you're going to be wanting the trees and whatnot for that. Another thing that I would do is when you start to narrow it down to the area that you're going to be, and if you find a couple of plots, you're like, okay, I really want to look at this land and I want to go and it all looks great. Find the closest neighbor to that, or go find, like with us up the road before COVID, there was this wonderful little mom and pop, they called it the Biscuit Barn, and she was only open for breakfast. And then she
and
stopped.
not every day.
And not every day. It was mostly just the weekend. And they started to dabble with lunch a little bit. But go in there and have a meal or two. Strike up some conversations. Ask the locals about that land. Ask them about what happens to it when you get heavy rainfall. What's the weather like around in that area? How much snow do you get? How much rain do you get? How are you prone to flooding, tornadoes, earthquakes, whatever? Because with permaculture, the very first thing that you want to do when you first get on the land is you want to learn your land, and they tell you to be idle for a year. Every time it rains, go out, walk your property, see where water collects, see what runoff and stuff like that you kind of have. You can help circumvent that step by talking to some of the old timers that's been there for a while to get the kind of history of that piece of property. You know, it may have been a part of a huge farm that went on for generations, and finally got to the last generation and they're like, we're not farming, and so they divided it up into these plots and started selling it off.
Which is basically what happened with our property.
Yeah. And so those are some questions definitely to be. Now, my buddy Jay, this is something I absolutely never ever in my life thought about until Jay has to go through it. There's something that when you're trying to build a house, at least here in the state of Georgia, you have to get the land tested. It's called a PERT, P-E-R-T, I believe. I may be saying it wrong, but it's called a PERT test, where they come out and they get samples of the ground and they test it to see if it's okay to build on it. Personally, I think it's just another scam for them to be able to perk. Yeah, perk. P-E-R-K. Thanks.
The heck's a perk test? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, because we never bought raw land. Our house and stuff was in it. It's now a law, at least here, that that it has to go through this test. I don't know exactly what they're testing for. But he's having the hardest time. He bought raw land, and we've gone in there and looked at it with him and helped him. You know, they've cleared some spots.
It's for his septic. A percolation test. It's a test to determine the water absorption rate of soil in preparation for the building of a septic drain field or infiltration basin. So, I'm assuming that's right and wrong locations for septic tank. Yeah.
But he's having to pay a lot. He's having to come out of the nose a lot of him, because he was over yesterday.
Friday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And the amount of time he has to wait and the amount of money that he's having to pay for this test is crazy. So I know there's it's very romantic to be able to go out there and get raw land and build the house that you want to build, but that's a question that I would ask. What is my turnaround time, and how much is it going to cost for me to get this perk test? To get a well in, to get the septic in, talk to the power company. What's it going to run to get the power out there and stuff like that? Now, if you're buying raw land, these are the things that you have to take into consideration. And
easements, restrictions, all of that stuff.
All that kind of stuff.
What zones are you in?
Yeah. And is it going to be zoned for agriculture? Or are you going to be allowed to have livestock on it?
Yeah.
You know, all these kinds of things that 8 years ago, Robin and I didn't worry about.
To be fair, we already knew that there were animals on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that basically the stuff that we wanted to do was already being done there. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really do as much. I know there was an issue with the easement at first but other than that, we've been very fortunate because we kind of knew what you know, when you're talking about raw land versus something that's already being run the way that ours, what we wanted to do. I mean, they already had cows here, they had a donkey here, they had chickens. So we kind of knew that it was okay. So yeah, I mean, it was a little bit easier for us. Sam said they might need a Wisconsin mound for a septic.
Yeah. And prior, I'll just put it like this, prior to COVID, you weren't having these wait times like people and stuff.
Oh no, and they're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, every time you turn around, people blame COVID for everything. Bad customer service, bad service, wait times, blah blah blah. And it's a lot on the ridiculous side. But you know, like his is like 4 weeks out, and he's getting charged like more money because of gas with the inflation, because they have to travel
to get there and back.
To get there and back, and so now they want to raise the price.
Well, remember the rigmarole we had to go through for the water test.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I told him. I said, you know, do not let the county if you find a place with a well on it, don't let them test your well. Get your sample,
yourself.
Go through the University of Georgia.
Because we're too close to not do that. I mean, it's like a 45-minute drive. They will send you the test kit. You can get it at your local co-op, your extension agent. And you pick it up there, you run the test, you take it to UGA, they test it, and that's it. It was so much easier.
How do you say that lady's name again?
Clarissa?
Clarissa. One of the things that I always suggest to everybody, because you said you're ready to leave the rat race, there's a couple of books that I suggest that you get before you break off. One of them we found on our own, and then the other one Windswept gifted us. They gave us. The one that we found on our own was John Seymour's The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It. In my opinion, and we've only been doing this 16 years. My opinion, that is hands down the best homesteading, self-reliant, self-sufficient book out there to date. And that was, I think he wrote it back in the early 70s.
The thing about that book is it does a good job of covering all the major stuff. It doesn't go into deep on each thing, but it gives you enough to get started on each subject. Because there is one book out there about self-sufficiency that it's literally like this thick, and the writing is like dictionary size, like it's horrible, but it covers everything in depth. But I don't see the fun in that. Like, I want pictures. I want stories of things. I don't want this black and white, you know, sterile.
What book are you talking about?
I can't even remember the name of it, but I saw it at Barnes and Noble or one of those, and it's like this thick. It's a big, I don't know. It's like an encyclopedia of.
Yeah, and then the other one, I believe the title is How to Live.
She's in here. She's gonna start typing it out now.
How to live with nothing, or how to live. Anyway, basically, it's how to.
It's like have everything and live off of nothing. It's hard to remember the name.
Something like that.
It's hard to remember the name of it for some reason. I can see the cover plain as day.
But it is, and Karen, please put the title of that book in there. It is a very good book. That book has recipes and stuff in it for like feed ratios.
But it also started a really knockdown, drag out fight one day. As soon as I said how to live on almost nothing and have plenty, there it is.
There it is. That's the title of that book. Oh, wait a minute. Was I there for this fight?
Oh, yeah, you were. Like, we didn't talk to each other the rest of the night. We went to sleep facing out that night. As soon as I said, watch his face, look at the camera. You ready? planting tomatoes sideways.
Oh.
You remember?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
We were our kids came out and were like,
2 Christmases.
what is going on? That's where they came up with the 2 Christmases thing. I was pulling my hair out, and if you know how we are, you know that we have in our dining room, we have chalkboard, right? All the walls are chalkboard paint. So I physically went out to the chalkboard, and I'm like this. He's like, but you've got this. It was so bad. But here's what's even funnier.
We
were saying the same thing.
No, we were not saying.
Yes, we were. Still, he's gonna get up. We're gonna fight tonight, y'all.
No, we're not. Had to bring up old stuff. No, we're gonna settle it when we go out there to plant the tomatoes and see if we're saying the same thing.
I think we're saying the same thing. The difference. So basically, the concept is a lot of people will plant up their tomatoes. And look, poor Karen. She's like, great.
Great. I give a gift and it almost causes a divorce.
So basically, she's got popcorn. So basically, a lot of people will take tomatoes and they'll keep potting them up until it's time. That's actually Mud Pie Girl, but that's her husband's account. Okay. So with the tomatoes, you'll keep planting up, right, so that you get a really good root structure. Right. In this book, it suggests that when you go to plant your tomatoes, that you plant them with some of the stem sideways, so that, and then when you put your soil on top, that it will grow roots and it'll anchor better into the ground. Mm-hmm. We both agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Just stop. Just stop. I'm telling you. Stop it. Let's just let it ride until we go plant tomatoes. Just let it. Don't. I'm just telling you. You gotta let it go. You ain't got but a couple more weeks. Just let it go.
Okay, so I just have to ask this.
No, just no.
No, let me just ask.
No, you're trying to come in the back door now.
No, I'm not. I promise I'm not. If I'm right, will you come on here and tell everybody I'm right?
If you're right, yeah.
Okay.
Now, if I'm right, you're going to come on here and tell everybody I was right.
I really feel like we're saying the same thing.
Okay, but you didn't. No,
but yes, if I'm wrong.
Quit playing dodgeball.
If I'm wrong, I have no problem saying I'm wrong. I will tell you that I was wrong. But I think we're saying the same thing. There's just a breakdown between how men word things and how women word things. I really think it's a male-female communication thing. So we'll find out when we physically go out there.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 10-foot sections.
Okay.
And we're going to see who gets more plants in that 10-foot section.
Okay. Jason will need to admit on Facebook that Robin is right.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, Tim, everybody that's saying that it works, we're not arguing that it works. We're arguing about spacing.
Giving up the acreage. Start laying plants down sideways. Because here's my question.
Here we go. It's fixing. If you have access to popcorn, you might want to pop it. I'm just saying.
If you're taking a plant and then you're laying it down sideways like this to get this, you can't plant another plant right on top of it because all of this is going to be root ball. Oh, she's drawing on my whiteboard.
10 foot, right? Plant a plant here.
Now, we cannot twist the camera around.
Okay, I'm just asking you. Okay, we plant it this way. And let's just say it's maybe 6 inches. Probably not even that much. The spacing of plants is supposed to be how much? 2 feet?
Okay.
Okay, so we have 2 feet.
Oh, wait a minute. No, you can't.
I can't what?
You're going. You got to go
This
to.
is where we are.
This is where we're arguing. Because you're saying that your 2 feet begins where the plant is, and I'm saying it begins where your root ball is.
Okay. Okay. Let's just go with my theory first. Okay? We're starting from here to here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we plant the next plant here, right? But then that root ball is over here. So that 2 feet is still the same as that 2 feet, right?
No.
Okay.
But you're still going to you're going to get 1 plant less. 1 or 2 plants less. Okay. This is what she's saying.
Jason, you may get more plants in a 10-foot section, but Robin will get more tomatoes. Lay the plant in the hole on its side, 3 inches. See, it's not even that, it's 3 inches. So your spacing is negotiable. It's only 3 inches.
Right, but see, even she said I would get more plants, and that's what started the
But
whole.
you get 1 more plant, maybe.
That's what I said from the beginning.
But I don't
That's
think
what
you
started-
would. Okay. Because this is why.
But no.
Because
No, stop. Well, our whole argument or fight was about because we were talking about how many plants you wanted to plant.
Okay, so 2 feet.
Hi, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead, where we just air all of our dirty laundry out on a Saturday night live stream.
2 feet. 2 feet.
Well, they telling everybody we done jumped up to 28 people in here.
So
We're gonna blow up the internet. People are about Jason and Robin are fighting live.
okay. So we planted 1. Okay, and then 2. And then 3. And then
You're giving poor Miss Kathleen PTSD from her
5.
divorce. Let it go. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. Karen said she'll come down and help you plant.
There should still be 6 plants. Because, and the reason why I say that is because at that last 2 feet, you can still plant a plant.
Hawkeye, I'm right there. I'm
Because your root ball is going to go on the outer edge of that 10-foot row. And Robin will get stronger plants and more tomatoes.
Not if I plant mine deeper.
Anyway.
So that's the thing that I'm wondering. What makes this way better than just planting it deeper?
Because your roots are closer to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So they're able to pull the nutrients down more. And they're anchored. The way that they're anchored, there's more surface space anchored down. So there's a lot of reasons why, but those are the 2 big ones.
But wait a minute. If you're laying it over
3 inches.
3 inches and you only plant it 3 inches deeper, you're still getting the same
Surface
amount.
area difference.
It's still the same surface area. It's still this. Your stem ain't but that big as the finger.
She said, just make 2 more rows for Robin's tomatoes.
When you plant it down like this, lay it down like this, it's still the same surface area in the dirt.
I'm telling you what, and it makes sense to me. And of course, it was a woman that wrote it, so the wording
See, that explains it.
works for me.
I'll try to reinvent the wheel.
If I remember correctly, this is how old Alabama Gardener did his tomatoes.
He was a good gardener, but he did a lot of things I didn't necessarily agree with.
Stronger roots, it can drop. See?
I understand that. But what makes laying on its side stronger than just burying it
You know
deeper?
what we need to do? This is how we do this.
I mean,
This is
that's a
how we do it.
legitimate
It
question.
is. It's a very legitimate question. So this is what we do. We will film this. We'll do a row my way, and we'll do a row your way. And let's see how they do.
I'm very curious about this because, I mean, I got a degree in horticulture. We never talked about, I understand the concept of when you put the stem in there, it's going to make it grow more roots. Same thing with the whole theory behind with the potato, you do it, cut the leaves off, add more dirt, so that way it produces more.
Look at what Lost Dude says. Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about that. So that's what I'm saying. Like men.
Now see that okay, then yeah.
So men and women process information differently. So that's what I'm saying is if he understands it, then. But I still think we should do a video on it. I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it and let's run the experiment. But if it's the same concept with the J on the bottom of the concrete, then it will be a stronger plant.
So, but I think it'd be a good thing to do, and we'll work out the spacing and see if we technically lose a.
I think you may lose one plant that way.
I don't feel like I will because
Maybe.
I feel like the plant is still going to be at the 10-foot mark. The root's going to be beyond the 10-foot mark. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at your little drawing now, and I'm maybe.
I think it's just really hard to understand unless you physically. And the problem is the night that we were having this conversation, we were so heated. He couldn't even look at that. Like, I kept drawing it, and he was like...
He didn't draw it like that, though.
Yeah, I did.
No, he didn't.
Anyway, he couldn't understand how he wasn't going to give up real estate by planting. And I think the other concept was, I think he thought that you were going to plant, like, 6 inches of plant, you know. And really it's, 3 inches. That's negotiable even in spacing. So, but yeah, so.
Well, we'll do it. We'll run
says,
one and.
Won't it bend? Won't be bend. It will get growing to the sun. Make a weak point for breaking.
And see, that was the other thing that I was thinking about. How are you? I guess you got to prune off the leaves and stuff.
That's exactly what you do.
But to bend it like that and not break it, that's.
I didn't have any problem doing it last year because I did it last year. You didn't know I did it, but I did it last year.
See, that's the same thing Lost Dude said. The tricky part for me is
how you plant sideways.
Yeah, and without breaking it.
So you aren't going to do these. You're either going to do them with your smaller seedlings that the stem is not, it's a little bit more pliable, or if you have a bigger plant, you're going to go to where it's not like that crisp part.
Yeah.
So you mound the soil around the plants. See, I literally like laid it on its side.
Karen, we might have to come kidnap you and let you, because she said she does this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had any problem with it. I kind of just, I pulled off the leaves of the plants and I just kind of skewed it a little to the side and then I built up the soil around it. So I guess that's maybe what she's saying. You mound the soil around the plant.
You did that last year?
Mm-hmm.
We got some.
Well, I'll say this. We may not have gotten the best tomatoes because our water schedule wasn't great. But think of all of the torrential winds and stuff we had last year and how the tomatoes did not move.
Yeah, that's it.
The bamboo blew over and took off, and they were still standing like
That's right,
champs. So from that perspective, I couldn't argue with the strength of the plants. The actual fruiting was a little bit different because there were other things involved in that, and that was watering issues because we just weren't on a really good schedule of watering things. I didn't get out there and prune the way that I should have. So
now that this fight is basically over, we can have makeup time.
Oh, I see how you went with that.
That's the whole reason why I started the fight to begin with.
Oh, I know. But we will. I think we should do a video on it. I think that would be a good thing to see how.
Yeah.
You didn't have a YouTube audience that night. Yeah, that too.
Y'all would say words that we were saying. Oh, excuse me. The stuff that we were saying to each other, y'all would not love us anymore.
I'm gonna tell you, it was
nasty.
And it was crazy because, like, I remember waking up the next morning and looking at him and going, were we really fighting about tomato plants? Like, let's really think about that for a second. So then we had to kind of unpack that because I was like, there's something else going on, because if we're fighting about this, and really at the end of the day, there really wasn't anything else going on, and I was like, we just both must have had a long day or something, and we both needed a win, and we weren't giving it to either one. Like, no, I need this win, and I need this win, and nobody. But yeah, so I plant them at an angle, and they bend with the sun. So yeah, I think that's kind of more what I did, because I didn't want to like break them. I just kind of, you know, and then we just kind of packed the soil so that it would.
I wasn't out there planting with you, so I don't know exactly what you did. I was off doing something else.
I know.
I was out cutting bamboo is what I was doing.
Here's another one, and you're gonna, because I didn't just do this with tomatoes. I did it with the squash, because the squash that we got, if you remember, they had a lot of stem when we got them. They had a lot of stem. So we planted them deep, and we planted them so that the root kind of went off to the side, and we packed them in that way. And you can't argue with the squash that we had last year.
We got a lot of squash.
So, and I don't know that it's not necessarily the same concept, but I know that we, instead of planting it straight down into the dirt, we did dip it sideways, and it seemed to.
Mama Z, am I allowed to talk about what you're going to possibly be doing on Monday, or are you going to push it off another week?
They did have an audience for the slap heard around the internet. We argue every spring about how something gets planted or harvested.
What was that one about? The slap heard around the internet.
I don't know. He'll have to remind us, because some people remember things that we just.
You smacked me right upside the head, didn't you?
See, I don't remember. Like, we play around a lot, you know, like I'll smack him or whatever, and it's all in love. I know that sounds crazy. Most people don't get that, but a lot of times that's a little bit of our love language. It's just like, are you kidding me?
Hello, my Russian friend.
So, you know.
So, yeah.
Lost dude, you got to refresh our memory.
But if you really want to see a good video with Robin and I kind of going back and forth a little bit, we did a collaboration. And what was it, the 10 things?
Like 10 things you don't know about us, or interesting facts, or something like that.
It's in the collaboration playlist.
It was pretty ruthless.
We were nice up till about 6. Then the gloves.
I don't even think we got that far. Slap Jason in the back of the head.
Yeah, that was a slap heard around the internet. You hauled off and smacked you. Physically smacked me. You abused me on live TV.
She said, nope, we are live Monday.
Awesome. Okay, so the reason why I asked, Mama Z is going to go... Well, let me pump the brakes there for a second. Everybody in this chat, in one way, shape, or form, has... Especially you guys that's been around for a while, we've all expressed struggle that we've had with weight.
Mhm.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. Mama Z struggles with it. I struggle with it. Robin struggles with it. A lot of people struggle with it. I got a buddy of mine that was in my platoon at boot camp that was 290 pounds. He was a big boy. This was after his career in the Marine Corps. When he went in, he was like me, tiny little thing. He is now competing in the over 45 age group for bodybuilding. He lost a tremendous amount of weight and now he competes. So it can be done. Okay? So Mama Z is going to be doing a live stream every Monday, I believe, around 1 o'clock Eastern time. I may be wrong about the time.
I think she said 12 Eastern, 11. I don't remember. She'll tell us in a second.
Noon chat.
Noon Central, so 1 our time.
Yeah, so 1 Eastern. And I'm gonna, on this first Monday, I think I'm coming up on the panel. There's going to be a panel of us, and we're just going to talk about our struggles with it, our ups, our downs, ins and outs, some of the things that we're going through, and she's going to interview us and talk to us. And she's going to carry on with that, and I think she's trying to line up nutritionists as guests, different people. Like she's going to try to get with my buddy Crowley on his journey, the stuff that he done to go from Kool-Aid Man to kind of thing.
Kool-Aid Conan.
Yeah, and so I think it's a really, really good thing to do, especially with Mama Z being a cooking channel. I think that she'll be able to. I foresee in the future that her and I were talking that she's going to be also.
Oh wait, it'll be 1
Central. So
1 Central.
1 Central.
Or were you trying to do East? I just want to know. I'm not sure. See, she just retracted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. And she's going to start, one of the things that she said is that she's going to start doing healthier cooking videos and stuff. So definitely if you struggle, which most of us do, if you struggle with your weight and it bothers you and you're looking for more tools to put in your toolbox, definitely mark that down. Go ahead and subscribe to her channel if you're not already. Mark your calendar, Monday 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be on there and I'm going to be sharing the stuff that I've learned through the VA Move program, the VA, my health coach, the dietitian that I'm working with, and this is, I'll be sharing some of the stuff that they are telling me to try to do and try to go along with. Like I just had another appointment with my dietitian on Friday. And kind of turned everything upside down again. So definitely, if that's something that you struggle with and you want to put more tools in the toolbox,
definitely check it out.
Definitely be there with us, check it out. It's a judgment-free zone. Nobody's gonna look down at you or judge you or anything, because everybody that's gonna be up in the chat box or up on the panel, if she does a panel, or however she's going to do it, every last one of us that are going to be up there are going to have faced or are facing the exact same struggles, self-doubt, all that kind of stuff that goes along with it. And Mama Z, I personally want to say thank you and applaud you for picking up this mantle, this flag, and running with it, because all of us at some point in time, our metabolisms and stuff change, and it messes with your head. It can cause you to slip into depression. It can cause cancers. It can cause all kinds of different things, diabetes and everything. And as we get older, it's not like we're 15, 16 anymore where we can eat
Mm-hmm.
a large pizza and lose 5 pounds.
Right. Yeah, not me.
You know? So
Lost Dude says, since cancer surgery, I haven't been able to break 220. Yeah. I mean, and I'm dealing with, and I'm sure there are women in here that are dealing with hormonal stuff. We're getting at that age where hormones are just nasty. For me, I can starve myself and eat hardly nothing all day and not lose any weight. And I can go out and stuff my face full of pizza and pasta and not gain any weight. Or I can eat salad all day and gain 5 pounds. Like, I have to probably go see somebody and be like, okay, test everything, see what's going on, and tell me what I need to eat based on what I'm dealing with, and that's just.
And see, and this is all a part, because I know there may be somebody going, Jason, this has nothing to do with homesteading and self-reliance, but it does.
Well, it does.
Because at the end of the day, with self-reliance, you're your own doctor. You have to take care of yourself. And managing a healthy weight is not only good for heart, lungs, cardiovascular, your respiratory system, everything like that, but it's also good for your mental health. And it's a part of the self-health part of homesteading, self-reliance, because
you can't be walking around taking care of your chickens and cows if you're constantly out of breath because you're overweight or your blood pressure is off. Like it can really make
dehydration will hit you faster.
Yeah.
All kinds of things, and it's just another hat to wear. It's not a heavy hat once you get the information and be able to take that information and adjust it to yourself. I'm so used to saying your homestead, but adjusting it to your needs and your own health.
I like what Kathleen said. She said, I told my kids, get the habits right now, because in the 40s and 50s, the check engine light comes on and boom, you have an autoimmune disease of the thyroid and adrenals. So yeah, I mean, what we do now as, kids, what they're doing now will set them up later in life. Yeah. And so
those Twinkies and stuff and those Debbie cakes I used to stuff my face with, I'm paying for now. All the fried foods and stuff, I pay for it now. That is.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, that is like hashtag truth written all over it.
Because if you don't do your oil change religiously like you're supposed to, that engine's only going to last so long before it starts giving you trouble.
Yeah, but when you do take care of it, you end up taking a car to over 300,000 miles, and it ends up developing a tiny little head gasket leak, and then it blows up because you couldn't afford to
replace the whole thing. But yeah, I think
normally that car was going out at 150.
I have people that will always, like, when we go to visit somewhere, my girls will not gorge, but they will definitely take sweets from other places, like cakes and stuff like that. And then they'll end up getting sick on it because they eat too much of it. And that's because in our house, sugar stuff is a treat. Like, it's not a common thing. Like, we don't have sugary cereals. We don't have, literally we have sugar. Like,
yeah, well, for example, Jay and Carly used to come down for the girl's birthday. And they would have to buy these birthday
big sheet cakes.
Big sheet cakes. 98% of that cake ended up going to the pigs every time.
Or like the first year we tried to eat it, but it took us so long
It got nasty.
to eat it, it got tough. And that's basically what we did every year is we'd eat as much of it as we could, and then...
Because Ladessa can handle about one small slice, and if it's too sweet, she doesn't even get through that slice. Carol, on the other hand, she will finish it out to make herself sick because she's bound and determined that she's going to eat a whole slice of cake. That's probably my hard-headedness.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like they can't have a whole lot because they're just not used to it. Like here we just don't have.
In all honesty, and maybe Dee can tell me if I'm wrong or not. Sometimes I think there's a huge difference with their bodies and our bodies being able to process and take the
Processed sugars,
natural sugars like from the blueberries and the grapes and
apples
the peaches and
things.
the apples and the other stuff that I never get to have any of because they're out there eating the raspberries, blackberries, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They will eat 60 pounds of those things in one sitting and not slow down. But they can't get through a full slice of cake.
A brownie. Like I remember we had brownies. Somebody brought brownies. And we literally had to cut a single serve brownie into quarters. Because it was just too much. Like couldn't even eat a quarter of it without it being too much.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a really good point, is that our bodies probably process things a little bit differently.
And since look, I've always been, in the years past, I've always picked on folks and said, about the difference between Southern tea and Northern tea.
About 1.5 pounds of sugar.
But when I really started getting serious and paying attention to everything, I removed the sweet tea and went with stevia.
Which I still have not done. But I don't drink as much during a day as you do.
Yeah, I'll go through two gallons of tea a day.
Yeah, I don't go through as much.
And to this, I cannot touch a sweet tea cup. If we go out somewhere, I'll order
half and half.
A tea. Sometimes I have to order 2 teas because people don't understand the concept of half and half. And with an empty glass, and I'll end up mixing them myself. And most of the time, it's not even half and half anymore.
It's mostly, yeah.
It's mostly the unsweet with just a little bit of the sweet tea to try to...
So, one thing I noticed, without getting too much into next week's videos, we have cream now in our house. And so we made coffee today with some cream. And... What?
You threatened to... I've been
No.
struggling.
Okay,
I've been
I
struggling
didn't
the
say
whole
that we
live
couldn't.
stream.
I just said I didn't want to talk about what we're going to be talking about on the video, about everything that we're. Anyway, we have cream in the house now, and so I used cream on my coffee. And one thing that I found is that I can go, because I normally put like a tablespoon and a half, I guess, or not a tablespoon, measuring tablespoon, but like the bigger spoon in the spoon set. And like level, not heaping over, but usually a tablespoon and a half ish. And what I found is with the cream, one of the tablespoons was enough. I didn't need to put as much sugar in. I don't know. But I do try to, like, because I'm on the road a lot, and so I try to drink a lot of water. Like, I normally just bring my tin, and I fill it with ice, and then I fill it to the brim with water, how much water it'll go into. And then throughout the day, I'll just pour more water over the ice. And that seems to, keep me going throughout the day and so then when I get home, basically what I have besides water in a day is 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and I usually don't finish it. I usually have like 1 or 2 of these between dinner and going to bed. And that's it. So, it's a little bit different. So a lot of people here are talking about sleep. And that really is a big thing. That's one of the things that you'll probably talk about on Monday.
We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff on Monday. I don't want to ruin her live stream.
Yeah.
I need a haircut, honey. My sides are getting...
So Kathleen says if you look at old cookbooks from a century ago, the amount of sugar was minuscule to today's standards.
Yep.
And we have the added artificial garbage sweeteners now. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I did, Deanna, is I just took it out of the scenario. Like when I'm on the road, I just don't go get anything else to drink. I always have water. And every once in a while, like one Friday, my boss brought soda. So I had one can. But, you know, that's kind of the thing is like for me, it was just take it out of the scenario. Like if I don't have anything else to drink and I have no other choice but water, then what are you going to do? Not drink? So that's what I did. And that was just easier for me. But... you know, that's like, there was one time, and I don't think Jason realized this, but I noticed that they were all going through tea. Like, it was last summer. They were all going through tea like crazy. So I just refused to buy more tea bags. I was just like, ooh, I forgot to buy tea bags. Ooh, I forgot to buy tea bags. Guess you're going to have to drink water. And that's when we ended up with the bags that you put water in. And we drank a lot of water last summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing is like at some point you kind of have to, you know, if you really got to do it, that's what I did. I was just like, oh, crap, I forgot to buy tea bags.
When you do that this year, I'm going to go buy them. You mess with my brown water.
I know, right? Yes, I have a book from 1922. That's pretty cool. All right, well, we've been on for almost 2 hours. It's crazy how that happens.
And here I thought because of the way that you threatened my life about what I was allowed to talk about and not allowed to talk about, I thought we was going to be struggling to bear this down an hour.
Well, I used to drink Mountain Dew like crazy. Now I can drink half a bottle. He's the same way. He very rarely will have Mountain Dew. It'll be like one of those things where he's just, you know, dragging. He needs a little bit of caffeine or something, and he'll get a diet, which is not probably all that great. But
diet's not really good for me either. But
so Windswept said a little bit of lemon in the water makes it taste so much better. One of the other things is we grow mint and lemon balm, and if you take those and put them in your water, that's pretty good.
I'll be honest with you, the black tea, because that's what this is called. Your regular tea,
regular black tea.
Regular tea bags is stuff that you get in the grocery store. That's called black tea. Now, as the summer progresses, I will be leaving black tea and going to the Carol's lemongrass tea that she makes. And that one...
I planted 4 plants.
Oh, my.
Those need to come in.
What, the lemongrass?
Yeah, there's 4 little tender plants out there.
If you planted them?
In the ground, yeah. Or in a container. So I can just bring the container.
Okay.
Or I may just put something over it. It might be easier.
No, just bring the container in.
It's a pretty big, like, it's that one that I had the horseradish in last year.
Yeah, just bring it in. Have them bring it in. Man, oh man. I will drink the mess out of it. I'll go through a gallon of that in an hour.
Pineapple mint. I don't have pineapple mint.
Just like, have you tried her new kombucha?
No, she brews it and then I never get any of it.
This is because she's like a master at brewing that kind of stuff where it's not so vinegary. I mean, the vinegary is there.
Right.
But not so much. It's really good. I'm going to start having that with breakfast.
Oh, Marlboro. Ugh.
I like all mints. The lemongrass.
Lemongrass plants that are in that barrel. What are you doing?
Blinking my eyes really fast.
Okay, in that barrel thing that's in the front yard.
Bring it inside.
Yeah. Even if it's just inside the door, like inside into the foyer is fine.
Okay. Ow.
Yeah. See? That was Jesus.
I know I bought some lemon basil.
No, it was the door, Dad.
I bought some lemon basil at that nursery that I'm excited about.
Yeah. I like that. There was a mint. I think it might have been pineapple mint there at the nursery that I was like, ooh, I wanted to try it. And you're like, no, we got enough mint.
I don't think it's pineapple.
Well, maybe it was a chocolate mint.
We have chocolate mint.
So then it was the pineapple mint.
Okay. I don't remember seeing pineapple mint, but anyway. Now, I know pineapple sage. There's some pineapple sage that's pretty nice. But yeah, the lemongrass, what she does is she grabs the lemongrass and then she'll throw in some hibiscus tea or,
I don't know, but it's kind of on the sweet side, which is good for the palate. But it's a lot more water than really anything.
Well, and when you do kombucha, it's processing all the sugar, like the yeast.
Well, I was just talking about the lemongrass tea.
Oh, okay.
It reminds you of, at least for me, because I'm also a big fan of the Lipton green tea.
Yeah, it's like a green tea.
It's
closer
on
to
the
a green
flavor
tea.
of that, and it's so good.
Yeah, she would grab full sprigs of mint and put it in there, and it was very cool and refreshing. So that was the thing.
And it was so good.
Yeah. And she'll be doing that. We need to get new containers. She busted one of the containers.
I was like, just fill my Camelback full.
That's just not a good idea because it's plastic.
Probably not, but it was so good.
Yeah, and the bowel issues would not be pleasant. So, you drink a whole bunch of kombucha, that'd be a bad day.
Again, still talking about the lemongrass tea.
Oh, I'm still thinking about the kombucha for some reason.
I drank that much kombucha, you'd be pitching a tent right there by the commode.
I wouldn't be. You would be.
Give me a cushioned heated seat because I ain't going anywhere for a while.
Speaking of cushioned heated seat, we're riding and then we're going to go, for real. We're riding in the car today, and Carol's like, so I found a cushioned toilet seat cover when I was walking back there. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. But I hid it in a tree, so now I have a ground blind. And I was like, but you don't hunt. She's like, but I like to take pictures, and I need something to sit on. She's like, what was I going to do with it? So, be paying attention in the trees. She's put a cushioned toilet seat in a tree somewhere.
We'll be taking down that tree because it gets beetle infested. Be like, who in the world?
Who put a toilet seat up here?
This is somebody's pooping spot?
I was dying. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. Found a cushioned toilet seat back there.
She does weird stuff like that.
Anyway, so we hope everybody has a good rest of your weekend.
Again, for those of you in the South right now, do your best to stay warm. We've actually got the wood burning stove going.
Which is crazy. We've had it off for...
In the house right now. I actually had to even crank up the one in the shop today, and I'll have to crank it up tomorrow. So when we're in there, because I'm going to be in there making panels. And hopefully this will be the last cold snap of the year until deer season rolls around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, which, in all honesty, September is really not that far away now. Just goes by like a freight train. Well, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We only put out one video this week because, well, you'll see why.
Next week, why?
Why next week. Please feel free to go back and check out any of our other videos. We did start this as an educational channel, so we hope that when you're asking yourself a question, I hope that our channel will be the first channel that you come to look to see if we have covered that. And if we have not covered that,
let us know.
Please send us an email, and if we have any experience with it, we'll answer your email. And 2, we'll probably make a video about it.
Yep.
Why? Why not? Because you're probably not the only one with that question.
Very true.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out with us. And like how we always end the live stream, Robin and I want to remind you to plant smiles,
grow giggles,
and harvest the love, baby. Yeah. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next week.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody. God bless. Now, that was a great live stream. Everybody, yes, it is me, your friendly FBI agent. And you know, I figured I have been coming in here at the end of their live streams and talking with y'all for many, many moons. But I've never really shared my identity. So, I think